Hey, good morning. My name is John Anderson here with Collaboration Project, joined by Chris and Christina Roberts, who are going to be facilitating some of our Rest and Renewal Retreats upcoming this spring. And this is a chance for you, the viewer, to get to know them. And just let me give a little context before they introduce themselves. Within Collaboration Project, one of our desires is to create spaces for clergy or for ministry frontline workers to find rest and connection with God and one another. And so the ways that we're doing that in the midst of a pandemic still is trying to create these 1 day retreats, keeping it outside in a beautiful setting with small groups of people, again, facilitated by awesome leaders and a chance to connect with each other and with God. And so it's just exciting for me to introduce and get for you all to get to know Chris and Christina a little bit. They are going to be facilitating our time and are really gifted pastors and spiritual directors. But don't listen to me talk about it. I'd love for you two to just share a little bit of why and how did you get into spiritual direction?
Well, for me, I was facing a season in my ministry where, we were a young church plant with a lot of responsibilities, a growing family, and just was facing some potential burnout and started to seek out some spiritual direction as a way to just sort out my own life and my own walk with Christ and kind of discerning what ministry might look like for the long haul. And I think through that, really recognize, wow, this is a beautiful gift that I've been receiving. And so desire to receive some training so that I could offer that to others.
Yeah, mine's nothing quite so holy as that. Uh, we get in conversations, and she's a little bit ahead of the game. Uh, she's been doing this a little bit longer than I have, and we talk about these great conversations that she gets into. And I'm like, "Wow, you were with this person for like 5 or 10 minutes, and you had this wonderful conversation where you went so deep." And I'm not as gifted in listening as she is, so I had to receive a little bit more training. I'm a great talker. I can share stories, but I was just in awe of like the conversations that she had and the listening skills that she developed. And so I think that's what led me to become a spiritual director. I want to listen to people's stories. I want to be able to ask the great questions, the deep questions, to get to the heart. Um, and so I think, I'm just doing it to keep up with her. So that's what led me to become a spiritual director.
That's a really good answer and a safe one for a happy marriage. So well done.
Yes.
So let's just, I know we've talked about this before, but in the midst of the pandemic, this has been just an incredibly challenging time for, I think, clergy across the board, no matter what context they're coming from. And I think, in large part, maybe just the fact that they've been asked to do a whole skill set and function outside of a relationship in ways that seminary never prepared you for, and truly, really nobody even wants. And so there's this season, I think, of just massive exhaustion. And so, just from your own experience as pastors and as spiritual directors, I'd love to hear from you. Like, what do you see as the benefits, the importance of taking time to be part of something like a rest and renewal retreat?
Yeah, so I think pastors and probably lots of different industries, teachers, et cetera, are, I think, facing, do I want to keep doing this? Number one. So I think going on retreat is a great way to just kind of take some space away from our responsibilities for some vocational discernment. Like you mentioned, John, I think we're exhausted facing burnout. So it's just a chance to just kind of get rested and refreshed ourselves. I think a lot of times we can be facing some spiritual deserts, and maybe some of the spiritual practices that we've been trying aren't working anymore. And so I think going on retreat again can just be kind of a reset and a time to just remember why we're doing what we're doing. Yeah, and I think just maybe opportunity to kind of lean into what's our impact, what do we want to do with our lives, and I think retreat just offers just some great space to do that. So I think those are some compelling reasons why I think retreats are really helpful.
Yeah, and I think some benefits to going on a rest and renewal retreat. Number one, you're with other people who are in the sort of the same seasons of life, and so there's solidarity that you get by hearing their stories and being able to share your own story that you don't get just doing your normal day life. So I think that could be a benefit. I also think there's something really special about stepping back from your situation, stepping back from your circumstance, because when you're in the thick of it, uh, your view of what you see is limited. And I think going on a rest and renewal retreat is sort of taking that step back. It's looking at it from a bird's eye view of what's happening in your life. And anytime that you can provide rest for yourself, uh, provide a space, I think it will only benefit your life to do something like a rest and renewal retreat.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And I've had the joy and the honor of sitting under your facilitation, and it's just been really encouraging. And so I'm hopeful that others will come and join and prioritize this time. We'll have a link with more information about our upcoming rest and renewal retreats, as well as I know you have a new website as spiritual directors, and so we'll put that as well so people can find out more about how they can even have one-on-one time, which is even more special. But thank you both for just taking the time to share a little bit of your stories and your hearts, and for being part of the work that Collaboration Project is doing in our community. Really appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
Thanks, John.